This is Glasgow Rangers Nation. I am Owen James, and this is your Rangers news channel, guys. It's Tuesday. It does not feel any better, does it? Reflecting back on Sunday's game. Look, people say, oh, you're overreacting. It's just 4 games. It's one game. It's whatever. It isn't. It's not just one game. It's not just 4 games. It's not just this season. It's reflecting on 3-4 seasons worth now. It's sitting back and looking at this situation in a very calm way. The aim of Rangers is to win league titles, to win cups, to win doubles, to win trebles, and to some degree to compete in Europe. That is what this club is designed to do. This club is designed to beat our city rivals and win the league. That's how it works. Okay. I'm not saying that we do it all the time, because under every manager, whether it's Dick Advocat, Walter Smith, Bill Struth, Scott Simon, Graham Souness, you don't win every single Old Firm game. That's just life. Okay, it doesn't happen. Okay, even Manchester City don't win every game. Even Real Madrid don't win every game. Even Bayern Munich, Bayer Leverkusen don't win every single game. That's just life. Okay, but it's becoming a pattern. That's what the issue is here. And we'll get on to the whole process and what's going on at the club in a moment. Okay, but I just want to share something with you. This is a little kind of snapshot of where we are as a club. Now, when Steven Gerrard was the manager of Rangers, okay, which was obviously a few years back now, he played 13 games against Celtic. He won 8 of them. He drew 1. He lost 4. Like I said, you don't win every single game against them. That's just not possible. Okay? It just does not happen. Okay? So, but he won 8 out of 13 in his time in the Old Firm game. And to be honest with you, by the end, he pretty much had them figured out. He had a 62% win ratio, and he pretty much had them figured out. He knew how to get under their skin. He knew how to get in their faces. He knew how to outwork them. He knew how to, even when perhaps didn't have the quality of player that they had, he knew how to beat them. Since Gerrard left, we can talk about the rights and wrongs of that situation. We've played 16 games against Celtic. We've won 2. That's right, 2. Okay. And I would argue of those 2, only one of them actually mattered. Okay. The 3-0 at the end of the season, when the league was over, when everything was done and dusted, realistically, it was a kind of a dead rubber. I know Old Firm games mean something. I get that. But realistically, when something's on the line, we've won once against them in the last 16. Even giving them 2 wins, that's a 13% win percentage, down from 62%. That is absolutely incredible. To lost. Look at the loss category. That is the biggest one that damages us there. 11 defeats post Gerrard, under Gio, under Michael Beale, and now under Philippe Clement. And Clement hasn't won one single Old Firm game. Okay, so how have we got to this situation? How are we in this situation now where, look, I hate them. I absolutely hate them. I hate them. I hate them. Okay, get me criticism from other podcasters, other holier than thou podcasters who think we should refer to them with respect and whatever. Okay, of course he does. He gets me criticism, and I'm fully aware of that. I don't care. Do you know why I don't care? Because I'd rather be someone who sits here and tells the truth, someone who sits here and speaks about what's actually happening and gives an opinion. And if you don't agree with my opinion or you think I'm being negative, well, that's fine. That's your opinion. But it's because I'm not prepared to accept second best. I'm not prepared to watch my team crumble, watch my team fall apart, watch my team constantly be second fiddle to them, to watch them celebrating all the time, to watch them lifting trophies, to watch them partying all the time, to listen to them taking the piss out of us all the time. I'm not prepared to accept that. And as a fan who cares about this club, as a fan who wants this club to get back to being the best we can be, then some things have to change. And I understand this, back the team, get behind the team. Yeah, okay, great. I'll support the team every Saturday, every Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. But do you know what? Us turning up and shouting and cheering will not beat Celtic, because the quality on the pitch isn't good enough, because the leadership off the pitch isn't good enough. That's why we won't beat them. Okay. Don't pretend that the other clubs around the country are not backed by their fans, but yet they get humiliated by Celtic and by us to some degree as well. Don't pretend that Ross County's fans don't back them, but they get smashed by us. It doesn't make a great deal of difference, really, at this moment in time. Now, for me, there are three culpable parties in all of this. The board are massively to blame. I think they take the lion's share of the blame for what is going on at our football club, because they are the ones that run the football club. They are the ones that set the tone for the football club. They are the ones that take the business decisions. They're the ones that generate the income. They're the ones who do all the management side of it, where they run the football club to give the players and the manager the money, the means to go and compete. And they've taken some dreadful decisions in the last 12 years, and more so in the last 3 to 4 years. And we'll talk about those. The manager is not clear of blame. I think he has a slight pass because of the fact that he has been very, very badly backed to some degree. Not at all really by the board. He's been asked to do a job with one hand tied behind his back. Yes, he's had some money to spend that we can argue whether it's been spent wisely or not. That's fine. And I've got a statistic to show you and to share with you actually on this one. And then the players. The players have to carry some of the blame. The players are not free from blame on this. Yes, the players don't have the same quality or same talent as Celtic. They don't. And that hurts to say that. And you know what? You can call me whatever you want. But I'm going to ask you a serious question now. Our best starting 11, if you picked our best starting 11 at this point, how many of that starting 11, and I want you to be honest here, I want you to take off the blue tinted goggles. I want you to look at this situation dispassionately, which is hard, I know. Ask yourself this question. How many of our starting 11 would get into Celtic's team? How many? At this point in time, how many, if you were doing a joint Rangers Celtic 11, okay, like they used to do in the papers before these big derby games, how many of our players would beat their players out? Honest answer. I'd say none. Absolutely none. Butland over Schmeichel? No. Butland's been awful this season. Tav over Johnston? God, no. Suter over Carter Vickers? No. Proper over Scales? Scales isn't great, but Proper's looking dodgy. Jefte over Taylor, is it? I think. Yeah. No, not for me. Their midfield, Hatate, McGregor, and was it Bernardo who played there? Over Sterling, Diamande, and Barron. Maybe Barron. Maybe Barron gets in ahead of Bernardo. Possibly. Maybe Barron would get in. Okay, so that's maybe one. Their front three: Kyogo, Maida, and I can't remember who the other one. No, I don't really care. Whoever their other player was, I'm sure you'll tell me in the chat in a minute in the comments. Tierney ahead of Kuhn. That's it. Tierney ahead of Kuhn. No thanks. No way. Dessers ahead of Kyogo in all firm games. No. Dessers didn't lay a glove on Carter Vickers and Scales. He didn't hold the ball up when it came up to him. He didn't get in and about them. Whenever they touched him, he fell over and just moaned. No. Okay. Matondo over Maida. Maida's not great, but he's better than Matondo. So for me, I wouldn't put any of them in there. And like I said, that's not just me saying that. That's Chris Boyd saying that. That's a Rangers legend. That's a Rangers man through and through, just like me. He's saying exactly the same thing as me. Okay, so let's just park that for a minute. Okay, so let's go to the board. Why are the board to blame for all this appalling stuff that is going on at this moment in time? Right, Rangers financially are light years behind Celtic. Okay, we've talked about bringing a trading model. Well, we seem to have started talking about it now again. I mean, Bennett's mentioned it before, but has never done it. It's been talked about, but never delivered on. Now, the board have made bad decision after bad decision after bad decision. And you can talk about them putting money in. You can talk about them loans. You can talk about all that. Okay, till you're blue in the face. And I know some people back the board. I don't personally understand it, but hey, they've made bad decisions, dreadful decisions. One, they've signed off on contracts that are ridiculous. Contracts that for players who are massively average footballers, paying them vastly overinflated salaries. Now, I know we've done a lot to cut that down over this summer, and maybe things are starting to move in the right direction thanks to Niels Coppen, Craig Robertson, people like that. But overall, if you look at the decisions they've signed off on, they signed off on 37 grand a week for Connor Goldson. They signed up, I know he's gone now, but they still signed off on it. They signed off on 30 grand a week for James Tavernier, £27,000 a week for Ben Davis, £25,000 a week for Todd Cantwell, £27,000 a week for who's the one? I can't remember who it was now. I think Lawrence is on £27,000 a week, £24,000 a week for Matondo, £25,000 a week for Lammers. Just some absolutely ludicrous decisions in terms of contract length and in terms of amounts of money paid to players, which is just absolutely ridiculous amounts of money. They made appalling decisions as regards managers. Now, we had a manager that had moved this club hugely forward. We had a manager in Steven Gerrard who had taken this club, rebuilt this club, and won 55 and gone unbeaten. I'd figured them out. Had got a great record, like I've shown you, against them. He said that we have to fix the roof while the sun is shining. Douglas Park, Stuart Robertson, the Rangers board, which John Bennett was part of at that point, didn't do it. That was the time to take this club and accelerate, as Celtic are doing now, to move away from Celtic, to push on, to get Champions League success, to generate masses of income, to buy in new players, to set up that trading model. That was the time to do it. And did they do it? No, they didn't. They didn't back him, and he walked. Now, I know you can say, well, he went to the EPL. Well, yeah, okay. But I honestly think that if he'd been backed, if he'd been fully backed, then he would have stayed. He would have honored his contract and he would have stayed. Okay, and people say, well, he made bad signings. Every manager makes bad signings. Pep Guardiola makes bad signings. Jurgen Klopp makes bad signings. Sir Alex Ferguson, one of the greatest managers of all time, made bad signings. Okay, every manager makes bad signings. Okay, that's just life. Bad managerial appointments, and then not backing those managers. I mean, Gio was a decent manager. Feyenoord, he won the league, wasn't fully backed. You look at the players he wanted to bring in: Maatsen, Somerville, Gakpo, people like that. May not have been able to get them, but he's still Simons, people like that wasn't backed at a point where those players wouldn't have cost what they're costing now. Before anyone says, well, we couldn't afford 37 million for Maatsen or 40 million for Somerville or X million for Gakpo. No, we couldn't have done, but back then they weren't worth the same amount of money. Okay, that's the fact. So was he backed fully? Probably not. Did he get the players he wanted? No, he got what Ross Wilson wanted. Then the way Gio was treated and replaced by that used car salesman, Michael Beale, who was then given a ridiculous amount of money to spend, which he then wasted on very crap players like Cyril Dessers, Sam Lammers, people like that. Okay, wasted money. Okay, threw it all away. And Clement, to some extent, has been backed, hasn't been backed. You can argue about it all day long. So, he hasn't obviously, built on what we needed to build on post 55, and that was the board, not backing the manager, not giving the manager the tools to do the job. This window as well, I think it was fairly obvious that we needed to get a 6. Wasn't done, lack of funds, whatever the reason wasn't brought in, okay? Even after the wage bill was reduced. So, why was that? Was that because Coppen couldn't find one? Because we couldn't agree terms? Because the board weren't offering enough money for? I don't know what. I'm just giving ideas here. It's not just that. It's Australia. It's the Edmiston House overspend. It's the stadium debacle as well with the Copeland Road stand. It's just the whole situation. They make dreadful decisions which put this club in a bad position. And I don't think anybody in their right mind can sit there and actually say this board are making good decisions for this football club, because they're not. They're not making good decisions for this football club. They haven't helped to set up a trading model. They haven't signed off on that. They haven't done that properly. You know what? As much as it pains me to say it, that lot over the city are run a hell of a lot better than we're run. This is Celtic's spend this summer. They've spent 34 million on players, but they've brought in 38 million. So they've actually made a £4 million profit before transfer, sign-on bonuses, blah, blah, blah. They've made a £4 million profit because they've got a model that works, because they bring in good players for not a lot of money. They develop them, which is what we're trying to do, I suppose. And they then sell them for a lot of money. Matt O'Reilly, for example, I think cost them 1.5 million, sold him for 24 million pound, 25 million pound. Okay, Diogo Jota the other season, they've done that. Okay, their club is a lot better run than our club. CEO debacle. Why have we not got a CEO yet? Why are we going through a transfer window, or a pre-season, an off-season, where it is vital for this club to rebuild, vital for this club to make the right decisions, yet we haven't got someone at the helm who is capable of making those decisions? I mean, James Bisgrove, whatever. I'm not talking about him. He was probably not very good anyway. But we haven't brought anybody in. There's been talk of that lad Gillespie from St Mirren. That seems to have died a death. Where's the CEO? Where's someone who actually knows how to run this club? Where's someone who actually can make football decisions? Someone who can, sort out contract issues, can sort out all these problems. That's not Niels Coppen. Okay, he's the recruitment guy. He's the scouting guy. That's what he does. Okay, the sign off on sales and fees and contracts and whatever, that's the CEO's decision. Why have we not got one? Why have they not appointed one? Why are we still sitting here in September after Bisgrove left, whenever it was he left? We haven't replaced him yet. It doesn't make any sense to me. It just doesn't make any sense. We haven't got anyone at the top of this club making the right decisions to take this club forward, making footballing decisions and business decisions together to move the football club forward on the park and off the park. And that's where the CEO is missing. And why has Bennett done zitch about this? Don't get it. Okay, so the board, massively to blame for the debacle that we're in at this moment in time. Hugely to blame. Okay. Manager. The manager, to me, I don't think, has been backed fully. And we can argue about him being backed, about him not being backed, about some of the things he comes out with. Rangers have spent this summer £16 million, allegedly. Okay, we have brought in just £3 million. Okay, but yet we've let go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 players have left the club in total, including end of loans and so on and so forth. 14. Yet we brought in £3 million on 14 players. That's bad business. That is really bad business. Okay. Now, the manager has to carry some of the blame for what's going on. Okay. His tactics, his shape, his lack of flexibility, his lack of protecting players that are the weak link in the squad. He hasn't taken any of those decisions correctly. We've got into the last 4, 5, 6 Old Firm games doing exactly the same thing over and over and over again, and hoping that plan A will work eventually. Hopefully, if we just put different players in different positions, something will happen. But it doesn't work. It doesn't work. And it's just frustrating to watch on the park that whatever he's putting out there and whatever he's telling them to do, they're either it doesn't work or they're not doing it. I mean, I don't know which one it is. He's got weak links in the defense, which he isn't protecting properly. You don't just leave a player, no matter what you think of James Tavernier, you don't leave him out there one-on-one with Dyson Maida, who's going to run past him every single time. It's not fair on James Tavernier. It's just not fair on him. It isn't fair. He hasn't got the legs to go with Maida, okay? But why has he not been protected? Why has someone not been put in front of him that can cover that run? That's what teams do. They work together as a team. And before you go, you targeting Tab again. No, they were all shit on Sunday. Absolutely all shit. All awful. But, Clement's lack of in-game management. I mean, substitutes made when we're 3-0 down. Bringing on Hamza Igman instead of Danilo at a point where why throw a lad on who's played no first team minutes into a game where we're absolutely just getting battered? And yes, we were getting battered. I don't care what Graham Souness is off. Clement says, look, you can look at statistics all you want. We got battered. We got battered. Humiliated, embarrassed, as Chris Boyd put it, didn't we? So let's get that straight. Okay. And then for him to come out and say, oh, well, we beat Ross County 6-0 2 weeks ago and we played brilliantly then. It's fucking Ross County, for God's sake. It's not Real Madrid we beat 6-0 or Bayern Munich or Manchester United or Spurs or Chelsea or Arsenal or Paris Saint-Germain or I don't know who. It was Ross County. No disrespect to Ross County, but we should be beating Ross County 6-0. And definitely shouldn't be lording it over them, And then the St. Johnstone celebration, don't even get me started on that one. But the manager, to me, needs to be more flexible. He needs to take his tactics and change them to suit his players. That's what a good coach does. That's what that's what the best coaches in world football do. They rotate, they change formation, they change shape, they get players and they fit them into the right positions, and they see a squad and they take that squad and they build that squad, and they look at what they've got and they get a formation to match the squad's abilities and they put them out in the park. Now, it may not be the best squad in the world, but they give them tactics and a chance to actually a shape, an organization, which I haven't seen yet, to go on and be successful. And I've heard people, and I think I've said it once, and I think I was wrong to say it actually. Pep wouldn't get a tune out of this lot. Guardiola, that Klopp wouldn't get a tune out of this lot. Sir Alex Ferguson wouldn't get a tune out of this lot. No, but he'd make them a damn sight harder to beat, in my opinion. He'd make them a damn sight harder to beat because he would organise them in a different way. They'd protect the weaknesses. They'd move players into certain key positions. They'd protect, different ways of playing. They would perhaps vary points of attack. They'd perhaps vary the way we play. They'd vary our shapes, our formations. Something Clement doesn't seem to want or be able to do, which is worrying going forward. It's something that Monaco fans did actually warn us about. And the last one, and I'm aware that I'm going on this one, but I want to talk through some of these issues. The players. I don't think it's wholly fair because I think if you look at our players, I think they're mentally weak. I think they collapse. The moment Celtic went through them and scored that goal, which was then disallowed, you could just see their heads drop like, oh shit, they can just come at us and go through us like a knife through butter. Oh, what are we going to do? And it kind of all fell apart. And the issue that we have is on that park on Sunday, where were the leaders? Where were the people who stood up to be counted when the going got tough? Where were the people that took this game and took this team by the scruff of the neck and said, right, come on, lads, pull it together, reorganise, do this? The leaders on the park, where were they? There wasn't any. There was no leaders on that park. And it's not just James Tavernier. It's Robin Proper. It's John Suter. It's Tom Lawrence when he came on. It's Cyril Dessers. It's the senior players that should be taking a lead in this and pulling the team together when things are going wrong. And they didn't do it on Sunday at all. And I think the problem we've got is it's a real lack of actual quality and star quality in this team. It's like I just said at the start, how many of our players would make their team? Very few. One, I perhaps got with Connor Barron. But, realistically, who are the star players on this team? Who are the players that that stand out? Cherney was awful on Sunday, awful. Tom Lawrence, awful. Dessers, absolutely shocking. Matondo went off injured again. McCausland, pathetic. Diamande tried, but wasn't great. Barron gets past me. Barron was all right. He fought hard. He worked hard. Sterling even was average. Proper, poor. Stuter, average. Hefte, poor. Tavernier, poor. Butland, poor. There was nobody on that part that showed any fight, any heart, any ball, any mental strength to get after them. And that's the worrying thing, guys. That's the worrying thing at this moment in time. For me, there's players there that can be molded into winners, the players that I think can be successful. I think that Hefte can, I think that Barron can, I think that Diamande can, I think that Danilo can, I think that Cortez can when he comes back, I think that Sterling can. But I think we need to put some of the younger players in there as well, players that, have got no baggage, that are not carrying any, previous baggage and have got a fight in them. The Bailey Rices, the Cole McKinnons, the Paul Ncios, the guys like that, the Robbie Frasers, that are out there. Get them in there. Get them in. They're good players. They're good young players. Start using them. Start changing things. Start stepping it up. Look for a leader. And I think they are the issues at the club at this moment in time. Now, how do we address them? Well, I think that's enough for this video, guys. I'm going to talk about how we address them on the next video. But look, I've given a few clues there. Young players. I think we need new investors, 100%, until we get new investors in this club, until we get people who are willing to come in and actually take the right decisions for this football club, I include in that a new CEO, then this club's going nowhere this fast at this moment in time. That's how I feel at the moment. And yes, you can say I'm being negative. Yes, I'm moaning, whatever. But honestly, if you're sitting there thinking everything's all right, everything's moving in the right direction, then I think you're a little bit deluded with what's going on at the club at the moment. That's just my thoughts anyway. Guys, let me know what you think in the comments down below. Thank you for watching Glasgow Rangers Nation. As always, on the way out, please smash the like. And remember always, we are the people.